Okay, so I'm going to show how we can configure those removal policies and how we can actually remove the person record or mask the person record, whichever your organization's approach is towards purging the data. So this is all done within the data exchange menu where you do the HDL stuff. At the bottom, they have introduced new thing called remove person information. This won't appear by default for any user or any role in the system. They have given two privileges to do this, so you have to add this to your super users or the system administrators who are actually responsible for removing this data or who are actually looking at this GDPR related stuff, your data stewards or data officers. To get these two items, where the one allows you to configure the policy and other one allows you to run this policy and remove the person records, they have given two different privileges. To add them into a role, you can go to the security console and either add those privileges to your existing role, or you can create a GDPR specific role and assign to the user who are responsible for doing this. So just to show which privileges are these, go to security console. I'm going to show you what the rules which is giving me this access, and that's how I am able to see this menu item. I'll just quickly show what these privileges are. So then there is one privilege to configure this policy. So the privilege name is very simple: configure person information removal policy. That's the single privilege which allows you to configure these removable policies. And then there's another one. If I go to role hierarchy, there's an aggregate privilege called remove person information. This one would allow you to remove the person. Obviously, this is aggregate because not only it requires you to have access to run this job, it also requires you to have data security to remove that person. If you cannot see the person record, you won't be able to remove that record as well. So that's how the data security is also implemented on that. When they delivered this program, they also has put in a kind of constraint on the system that you will not be able to remove a person who has an active work relationship with the organization. So that's kind of checks out when you're doing the removal process. It will check whether the person has got an active relationship. If it has got it, it won't go further and will log this person into the log. And that kind of stops you removing anyone who by mistake. So I'm going to go into the policy and show you how do you configure these removal policies. Now your organization might want to remove some information after a number of years and then maybe completely remove a person record after a longer period of time. So let's say your policy might be that you might want to remove their document of records within 1 year, or you want to remove the employee record completely after 5-6 years, and maybe you still want to keep their assignment information for reporting purpose. Whatever the scenario is, you can actually define the multiple data policy or multiple removal policies and then run them based on your requirement. What Oracle doesn't give you is the first part of the removal, which means running the reports and finding out who you need to remove from the system or whose data you need to take out from the system. That is based on your organization's policies or your regional policies. You will create some reports which will give you this information, and then you might configure multiple policies. Let's say one policy to remove document of records, one policy to remove their or mask their personal information but remove their assignment record, and then maybe one policy to remove everything from the system, just leaving this entity or the person number behind, as you cannot delete from that production system. And then based on these reports, let's say after 1 year you need to remove just the document of record, you can run that policy for the people whose documents are long been there in the system for more than a year, and run that policy. And then you might have another report which is giving you, okay, these are the people who have left your organization more than 6 years ago. So the policy might be to just remove everything but leave their assignment information, or remove everything. So you will define these multiple policies, and then based on your requirement, you might have some reports which you will create and then run this process. based on that. So I'm going to show how you can configure a policy and how the policy tells you which information this policy is going to remove, and then you can run that policy. So let's say I'm going to go and say remove, or I'm just going to say mask person record, which means I intend to leave the assignment information for reporting purposes so that my stats are still correct. I'm not removing the data completely. You can remove candidates as well by using this process now, but this first needs to be marked for deletion in ORC. So go to category worker, and then I start looking at how we configure the rules. To configure the rule, you pick which business object you want to remove. So I said, okay, I want to remove worker. Okay, I would like to do something with the worker, and then within the worker you can say, okay, I would completely take out external identifier. I will take out their addresses. I'll take out their citizenship data, their email data, maybe their image as well. I'll take out their list, passport information, person information, visa information, religion, but I don't want to remove their relationship. So that means I still want to keep the data of their assignment intact. As you would see, the some information allows you the deletion, but some information won't allow you the deletion. And that's where the pencil is, which means the system will try to delete as much as possible, but cannot remove the information completely out of the database. And that's when we go to the next step, which defines the rule, they will ask you which kind of rule you have. So let's say I want to remove, as well as within the policy, all their person contacts. I'll say, okay, person, because I'm removing worker, the person contact can completely be deleted. I want to remove their disability record. I will also want to remove their document of record, and that's where I might have a policy which just deletes document of records maybe after 1 year or so, and then there are another policy removes worker after 6 years or so, and then by running the report together with this, I can find out what policy I need to run. I might configure other things. This process just came in 19D, and since then they've been adding up new things in 20A and 20B. They've now added performance documents as well to be removed. And there are still a few things which they will keep adding on to. So throughout this year, they will be delivering more things for GDPR purposes. So let's say I have not even implemented the performance goal, performance management within my organization. I don't need to do anything, but I want to remove that. And I say I've removed my document of records as well within the policy. Now I will go to the rules. Just look at the rules for those objects I have picked. Now most of the objects, I'm starting from worker because I've only picked these 3 different entities or different business objects. I can configure them. Now because I have taken these objects which completely deleted, there's no rule specifically. The system, when it will run this process, will completely delete the information. But within the legislative data, because the record itself cannot be removed from the system, the system will only delete the specific fields which are PII. So it says, okay, it will delete all the fields which are PIIs, and you don't have to worry about it. Similarly, names, it cannot delete the record, but it will remove all the fields which can be identified. So there is a delete on every field which can be removed, but because of the regulation, or I will say the constraint on the system, the last name can never be blank even through HDL. Behind the scene, this process, all it's going to do is, it will going to pick the policy and the person when I'm supplying a person record, and it will create the HDL files related to these objects with the command of delete wherever possible, and where the delete isn't possible, it create a merge command with a null against the fields wherever it's possible. So let's see, as you can see in last name, you need to have something. So let's see, I can have PPP. Similarly, all other fields can be removed, so they are there. And then I can quickly verify all of the ones as well. Person records, everything, context. The contact itself cannot be removed like worker, but some entities can be removed. And similarly, document records can be removed, even you can see in HDL, as that was your approach earlier. You could remove anything using HDL if you want to create custom process, but that just simplifies things. So I'm just, let's say, I've verified everything. I've defined my policy, and then I save the policy. And this is all it takes to define the policy. At the end of the policy, all I need to do is enable template to be used. Once I've enabled, I won't be able to change this definition. Yeah, I forgot to do within the component. I've taken the disability information, but haven't picked any component within there. All I have to do is check what the component. I should have some component if I've taken the object. And verify if this checks out correctly. I will save the policy, and I will enable the policy. So once enabled, it's ready to be used. Now this policy master person record is active now, so I can run this policy whenever I want. Now, just to show you, I have already created an employee in the system, which is lying here. And just show you that this data, it has got one active relationship. So I'm just going to show first how the person rejects the record if it has got active relationship. So this is a record, person number 40150 called GDPR. I've created my name. And I'll go back in the system and try to run this process with 40150 and show you that first this process will skip it, and then I'll terminate this person and rerun the process, and then it should go through. As I have the permissions to do so, I will be able to go and say remove the person now. Submit process. I say PP mask should me. I'm running this. I will take any of the active templates. So I've got this one, people mask person record, and that's where either I can supply a file of people I want to remove, which will come out of the report, or I can just copy and paste the number. In this case, I only have one ID, 40150. So I'll go and I would be able to run them as a report mode to see whether it's going to remove it or not, or I can just say, okay, I don't care, I want to remove it. So behind the scene, all this process does is the same thing as you would do when this process wasn't there. You will create HTML files and you will upload them. And that's what it does. Literally, you'll first query this data and then find out whether the person is actually eligible for removal or not, and then we'll create the HTML files and send to UCM and then run the HDL process, and everything will update here automatically. You would be able to go and look these log in ESS as well. As you can see, it has gone in error, and I'll see why it's in error. If I was running more than one person, it wouldn't go for error. Only thing it will do is skip those people record and will become in the log. The report should be well designed for that sense that you should be only be removing people request removal. So I'm just going to show the log. It will tell you quickly that it says the total person count was 1, but the matching person count is 0, which means it actually found out that there are people in the system, but it's going to reject this person because only term networks are allowed to be marked for obfuscation. But I have permission to remove this person because I have data security, so it's fine. But it's skip the person now. All I'm going to do is first I'm going to terminate this worker because this process only works on terminated workers. So I previously mentioned to some other people as well that this process has got some limitation, and one of the limitation is that it does not remove the cancelled work relationship. So if you somehow decided that you're not going to continue the worker recording, if you try to hire the person and then left behind, you would rather terminate and remove that using this process. But if you cancel the work relationship, this process doesn't pick them up. So that's one of the errors I have raised with Oracle as well. It should allow that. Maybe they will consider in the future. In this case, I'm just going to take this person record and terminate. I don't have any approval in place, so this termination should go fairly quickly. So let's I'll quickly go to work relationship record. Relationship. Now, see, terminate this one. Relationship. I could have cancelled this work relationship as well, but that would mean I won't be able to remove this person record. So I'm just going to terminate this person as of 30th of April. I can remove their access, and that's not relevant for this anyway. And then I submit this termination, and I might have to wait for a couple of seconds before it's auto approved as well, because there's no approval in place, but it's still the process will go through automatic approval or automatic skipping of the record behind the scenes and tell me that whether it's terminated completely or not. Okay, that's submitted the record. I'm just going to do done and just close that record from here. I'm just going to quickly search whether it's actually terminated completely or not. I would have to do include terminated work relationship. It has been terminated. So it has been terminated. As I can see now, I would be able to remove this record from the system. So in my policy, I'm only masking the personal record but leaving the relationship record, but you might decide to just remove it completely. Once you remove it completely, it will completely disappear in OTBI subject areas because of the data security won't allow anyone to see it because there is no work relationship existing. Only people with ultimate security access will be able to see it, or people running the BI publisher will be able to see it. But it would only be them because you have removed everything. They will only see their person number, nothing else than that. But in this case, I'm not removing it completely. So let's say I'm going to go and say remove information. I'm going to submit another instance of that. PP May 4th, 02. I'm going to say okay. Remove the past person record as per my policy 40150. And completely remove it. As I said previously, this is going to run the process and then it's just going to pick the person, create the HTML file and post to UCM. So just to show this in context, I have also opened the HTML screen just to show that it will post the HTML processing just in a normal way, and then you will see that HTML processing behind the scene. So yeah, it's saying file generation in process, which means it's creating the file for UCM, and then it will say upload in progress, which means it's now sent that file to HDL processor. At any point you will be able to look at this. Previously we have seen that it said rejected the person. I am hoping this time, because I haven't terminated the employee, it will not say rejected the record. And as I can see, this time there's no rejection, and it says list of person is going to remove. And it's also now given me the name, content ID, UCM for the file, and it's also said this is the file I'm going to run in UCM, which means now the file must be running to remove this information. So if I search this here, I should see a new file coming in, and as you can see, it's coming. And it's got 5 lines, and these lines or these different files will depend upon the data its system has got and the policy I'm running. My policy was going to remove the context, worker, and the document of record, but for this test person, I don't have any contact or I don't have any documental record. That's why there are not multiple files, and within those files, the objects I have selected, only the objects is going to remove where the data was found. So it only had 5 lines to work with here. Now import has gone to success, and as this moves on, the status will also update here. Now it will go upload in progress, and then finally we'll go to success and we'll see how the data looks like. Let's see, it won't take long. Even if it was a huge file, HCL will go through fairly quickly, and it has gone through quickly, which means it has completely taken out the data. In my case, I'm not removing the relationship, only the personal data being masked or removed or being updated to now. This should now go to success, and it's gone to success. Now I'm going to just run the queries, show the data for that same person within the person subject area, and you can see the person subject area says, okay, I have removed all the person data, I've left the assignment information there with the work relationship start date. If I was going to delete the relationship, these values would have gone to blank completely as well. The person number stays there and last name has been updated. I can also show you the assignment information. For reporting purposes, I did not remove any relationship information. So this should still be intact, and I should be able to run the stats on the person, but I won't be able to identify the person. There's an argument that some people will be able to identify using the person number and other stuff. So you can still do some more things, like you can remove the relationship record, or you can update the assignment number to something else and update the person number only after you change the policy to have person number manually. That can be done separately out of this process. This process doesn't do it. So it's better than nothing, but it's still some areas of improvement. But because of the restrictions already in place, you cannot do something like updating a person number from scratch, because it requires changing of your number generation policy first. This allows you to remove the record. I'm just going to quickly show you, because I have left the person record, the relationship record intact, I should be able to search it. In some cases, if I'm going to delete the person completely, and there was another example I worked with earlier, I removed everything and then I couldn't even search here because I didn't have access to see the data. But this time, this record should come in. My work relationship was there as terminated, so I should have him, but my address, email, phone, and everything has been removed, so you shouldn't be able to see anything in person, but you still will be able to see the work relationship or the assignment record. If I go to person, it has all been masked completely or taken out to now. So that's how it can be used for your GDPR compliance in your production system. Is pretty good, and it doesn't take long to configure and run it. So at least it gives you a toolkit to keep you compliant. Hope it helps. In my second article, I'm going to discuss how you can remove the data in bulk from your test environment using another process which takes out the data completely, and it won't even leave the trace like this, which this process does. Hope it helps. Thank you very much. Bye now.